Well, as of today, it's 49 and a half pounds. So I had lost so much weight. So in April, I did a finger stick to check my A1C and it was 5.4. So I went from 7.4 to 5.4. And
Wow, wait, hold on, pause. You went from
7.4 to 5.4 in 2 months, 2.5 months.
In 2 months?
So, yep. I'm Cindy Schmeltz, and I started the homemade program back in February 8th. I did that, it was on a weekend. And the reason that I did is because I was in a state of panic. So the day prior, I am a medical provider. I'm going to preface by saying that. And I started a new job in which I was supposed to be conducting biometric physicals for the new employees. And I got new machinery in and I didn't know how to use it. So I thought rather than have the patient be a guinea pig, I'd try it on myself. So I actually fasted, went in on Friday morning and took my numbers, and I almost passed out. I found out that I was diabetic. I had my cholesterol and so forth was good. My blood pressure's always been, I'm on blood pressure medicine. It's been a low dose, but my blood pressure was always good. My cholesterol was good, but my sugar that day was 235, and that's a fasting specimen. So I got out another piece of machinery and I checked my A1C and it was 7.4. So I kind of diagnosed myself with diabetes, got into a panic attack, started myself on meds, got myself a meter, and started doing the right things. And then I called up a friend of mine who is another nurse practitioner, colleague of mine who deals with just diabetes, and said that I need you. And he said, okay. So I went in to see him on Monday and he switched some things up. But over the weekend, I knew that I needed to do something about the way I was eating. And, once I hit in the 60s, and I did listen to her menopause talk just the other day, once I hit a certain age, I became more sedentary. I'm going to tell you that. I do have 5 grandchildren I adore and I chase after, but I wasn't going to the gym. My job that I had before was not suitable and conducive to having any free time to do any self-care or anything like that. And my husband and I, we don't really drink. We don't go out. We don't, do anything, but we like to eat. So there you have it. So, I'd like to say I love to cook. I love to bake. And, that was my downfall because I might not have been cooking the healthiest. And I know up here what to do. So when I first met with my diabetic specialist, I said to him, I said, I know I need to change my eating habits, but I know what I'm going to do. And I talked to him about the program, and he actually supported it. Being in the healthcare arena, I have patients who are diabetic, and I've sent them to some of the diabetic educators or dietitians, and they have not been successful because they wanted to eliminate a food group, or they have you counting carbs or counting calories or exchanges, and it became so complicated that it wasn't sustainable for the patient and they did not do well. So I said to Ralph, I found this program online and I started doing the free classes. And I said, what do you think about this? I said, what do you think about eating for satiety and for health until you're full? And he goes, I think that'll work. He said, I think that'll be a good idea. So that's when I started the program. He gave a thumbs up. I had already done some of the freebie stuff and I was looking into it. And when Anna was talking, it made sense to me clinically as a clinician that, yeah, okay, the cortisol, and this is what happens, and it lays down fat, and because you have the central obesity, like it was all making sense to me as a medical person. And so, and I even think I commented on one of the posts, I think the medical people have it wrong because we've been telling people to eliminate a whole group of foods, and God made them for a reason. They're here for a reason, but we might have to watch how we eat them, how much we eat them, and that kind of thing. So that's how I started on the program, was a panic attack on a Saturday morning. But I have enjoyed every minute of it, and socializing with people that have similarities. There's a cluster of us that are diabetics or just found out we were diabetic, and we're all kind of following each other. And I just was so amazed. And I'm posting what I'm eating. I'm posting my pictures. People say, you're not eating. I'm like, yes, I am. I just posted like all this stuff I ate. So, but I'm just eating so much differently. And I never did smoothies before. And I have a couple of go-tos that I absolutely love. I love the decadent brownie one. And I love I have one that's a strawberry cheesecake that you make with just a little bit. I think it's like 1 ounce of cream cheese, but it's enough to give it that cheesy flavor. And twice a week, I'll have smoothies for breakfast. And because I add the spinach or I add the flaxseed or I add other things to it, and you wouldn't have ever got me eating spinach before, girl. I'm just telling you that too. And when my husband saw me putting spinach in the blender, he's like, what? I'm like, you won't even know it's there. There's little tiny green flecks there, but you wouldn't even know it's there. You don't even taste it. The cocoa powder will, blend it out. So that's what we're doing. And so, I've been doing a lot and looking at, I just, that weekend, I also cleaned out the house. Like I got rid of all the snack crap. Sorry, can you say crap? But I got rid of all of that stuff. So because I thought if the chips are there or something is there, if I really have a salty moment where I want something, I'm going to, and you can't, it's like the Lay's potato chip commercial. You can't eat just one. You can't. You eat a couple more. And I thought if it's not here, I can't eat it. So I put snacks in and things that if I went to them, they're not exceptionally bad. And then when she did the one thing on fruit and nuts and seeds and whatever, I bought some mason jars. And so now I have, as I posted, I cleaned out my kitchen, but one whole shelf is just all kinds of nuts and dried berries and different things to eat, to nibble on. And so it's just looking at the world in a different view, I guess. And because of doing that, I feel full. That was the thing that I was worried about. And I know one of the things you wanted to know was if I tried any diets before. Maybe years ago in the day, I tried some things. I tried watching calories and using, My Fitness Pal, and they tell you how many calories you should have based on how sedentary you are and yada, yada. And I did Weight Watchers with my daughter-in-law one time. I don't think it really worked too well. And if it did, I think I gained it back again. But, I really wasn't worried too much about the weight until I started having health issues. And then that's when I had that aha moment, like, oh, no, this can't happen. And I had family members. My panic moment came the day after when I'm like, oh, my grandmother, she had amputations. And as a child, I don't remember her checking her sugars. I don't remember her watching her diet. If she did it on the sly. But I was there. I spent summers there. I'd spend weekends there. But I've watched her, first her toe and then her foot and then her leg and whatever. And then my dad's brother also ended up on dialysis. So, of course, I'm right away thinking, oh, my God, I don't want that to be me.
Yeah.
So, and I really, people are asking me, I just kind of rethought things that I always told people and never followed through on. So, and my diabetic specialist, he said that clinicians are the worst. We counsel other people, but we don't take our own counsel. And so he did have a point. So, even silly things like parking further back in the parking lot and taking the steps instead of the elevator, all those little things kind of add up. And then my local gym has a pool and I love swimming. So I started to do aqua zumba, which was really fun.
Yay!
I did some pound classes, which were also fun because if I feel really angry, I can beat the floor with the sticks. And so that was really cool. So I found some fun things to do to exercise and I change it up. And if I can't get to the gym, I have some exercise tapes. I have a yoga tape that I like and some other things that I really like. And so I try to stay active when it's nice at work on lunchtime. I'll walk around outside. I'm in a country setting, so there's a lot to see and animals and flowers and things. So I try to, I'd like to exercise more, but at least I'd like to say that I'm doing it at least twice a week, which is a lot better than what I had been doing before. On the weekends, we're busier, especially if we have the grandkids. Last weekend, we walked all over the zoo. So we're taking them to do things, but it's also getting me moving and getting my butt in gear. So they keep me inspired. So.
And you have the energy now. Now that you've shifted your diet, you have the energy to keep up.
Yes, I do. Because we just came back from vacation. where I was really worried because I had lost so much weight on the program, and I was worried because I would lose control of what I was eating and how I was eating, and how much exercise I would do, because you're kind of, stuck with what you have to do there. And I actually did really well. And because I lost the weight, I had so much energy. I could walk without getting short of breath or having to stop. And I ate. I'm going to tell you, I really did eat, because I'm in Ireland, I'm in Germany. There's some traditional foods in both places. And, I thought, I earned this. And, out of everything, after 2 weeks, I did confide in you, I gained 3 pounds, but in 4 days, I kind of lost that again. So, just going back to my way of eating and what I should have been doing. But we did have a good time. And I think that I enjoyed myself a lot better because I could participate.
Yes. The mindset was not geared towards feeling guilty anytime you ate something that you weren't supposed to do. It was more,
No.
I'm going to enjoy this potato now, and later I'll enjoy a salad. Or I'm just going to enjoy what I'm eating because I'm on vacation and I'm not going to feel about it. Because I know how to make myself healthy, nourishing food.
Correct.
Love that.
So since that time in April, I was supposed to wait 3 months, but of course I couldn't. So I had lost so much weight. So in April, I did a finger stick to check my A1C, and it was 5.4. So I went from 7.4 to 5.4.
Wow.
And
wait, hold on. Pause. You went from
7.4 to 5.4 in 2 months, 2.5 months.
In 2 months.
Yep. So then in May, I actually had my lab work before I saw my specialist, and that confirmed everything. My liver enzymes were normal. My blood pressure was normal. My cholesterol was normal. And I'm not on any meds for that stuff. And he does have me on medication for the diabetes, but my A1C was 5.4. And so he just was so pleased with everything. And he said, you're good to go. I don't want to see you for another 4 months. You're doing well. He asked about the food program again, and he asked what the name of it was. So I gave him the name. So I think he's really kind of interested in what's happening. And I told him, I said, I'm not limiting anything. I also did some research. I was sticking myself, this is again my panic move. I was sticking my finger like so many times a day because I was so fearful of how high or how low my sugar went when I started medicine. But I found some really interesting things. So I do like potatoes. I am Irish, but red roasted potatoes do not elevate my sugar. Baked potatoes, mashed potatoes do. But then when I asked Ralph, he said, well, the density of the potatoes are different. They contain more starch, and when you cook them, it changes the chemistry of it. And so your sugars will go higher when you beat them and you mash them up, as opposed to the red roasted potatoes. So what I do is if I get a hankering for potatoes, we have red roasted potatoes, and I put them in with other vegetables so I can just have, a couple of them to satisfy that need I have for whatever that food is that day. So that's how we dealt with that. But
I love that. I love that you're testing out different foods. I think it's so important. And we really try to emphasize this with our members. It's not a one size fits all approach.
mm-hmm.
Person they're going to have different foods that spike their blood sugars. And you love that you have tested your mashed potatoes versus your red skin potatoes. And you found that one works for you and you're enjoying that now, like moderation. Great.
Well, the other thing that I learned from the program too is that adding some kind of fiber to it, like when I had my smoothies, I'm like, okay, this is cocoa and this is this and this is that, and my sugars are going to go up. But adding the fiber content to that, I didn't have that sugar spike like I normally would have had I eaten something with that dexterity, with all of that in the smoothie. But it just was like a slow, gradual thing. So I didn't have that spike. So I worried less about having that. So now that's one of my go-to smoothies for breakfast because of that. So, and every week we try 1 or 2 new things. So I've also posted those about kumquats, which I'm not sure that I like, and I wasn't sure how to eat them. And then somebody said, well, you eat them skin and all. And so I'm finding new things to eat. And kojo berries was another one.
Nice.
So I use that instead of dried cranberries, and different nuts. And we never used pine nuts before. I never made my own pesto before. And I'm doing all of these things that I hadn't done before. And it adds flavor to whatever it is. So you can have a simple food item, just a simple chicken breast. And like the other night, I used the Italian rub, but I put some olive oil in with it, and I rubbed it all over the chicken, and I put it in the oven with those big potato slices that I found at the Whole Foods store. And I put a slice of tomato on it and topped it with a little feta cheese, and we had broccoli, and that was dinner that night.
I think
So,
you had mushrooms in that
yes,
meal
there was
too.
mushrooms too. Yes,
It was beautiful. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I'm just experimenting every week. I'm just like throwing new vegetables in. My husband
Yeah.
says he's a guinea pig, but I have to tell you, my husband was not trying to, but he is losing weight too, and he really does need to lose weight. He is morbidly obese. He does have a couple of health problems, but I cannot tell him these things as his wife. He'll listen to his doctor, but not his wife doctor. So,
Yeah.
but he has lost weight too. So he was 267 when I started the program, and he was down to 251. So he's losing a little bit slower than me, but I can't tell what he's doing during the day. I can only control the morning and night time. But every night he's having the same thing as I am.
That's so great that he's on board. I would love to hear some of your numbers as well. We talked a little bit about A1C going down, by 2 points. Love to hear some of the weight you've lost. And just in terms of your mindset, like how has your mindset shifted from you've tried a few diets to now you're fully on board with homemade. You're having incredible success. Hear about
No, I actually just signed up for the Success Program. Just did that in the past day or two because, my fear, I've always had these fears, but now that you're on a roll and you're doing this, how to maintain and how to sustain what you're doing, because it gets hard, after a certain while, or if you start to plateau. I haven't gotten to that point, but I know people talk about plateauing and what to do about that. And so that's why I joined the Success Program, is to continue to get, the educational pieces and the little tips and the little recipes, and also the support of other people who are going through, like the diabetics, we all started emailing and messaging each other, and it's like, does this happen to you? And does this happen to you? And to see some of the other people who have been on the program, I think one of them has lost so much weight that, and she was really having a lot of physical problems, was on oxygen and all of that stuff. And, to see where people have come just by doing the right thing, by eating smart and, and it's not like you're not eating. I don't ever feel like, okay, I'll give you an example. Last night. So Wednesday, I work a weird shift. I work 10 in the morning to 7 at night. So my husband and I will have a nice big breakfast, but then I'm not hungry at lunchtime. So I eat lunchtime about 3 or 4, and my lunch is usually leftovers. I usually make an extra piece of fish or chicken or whatever and have that for lunch. But then I didn't feel like eating, and I got home and I knew I should have eaten something. So this is another new food for me. I chopped up an avocado, smashed the heck out of it, added 2 tablespoons of salsa, and I found Mary's crackers at the Whole Foods store. So I smeared them on some Mary's crackers, and that's what I had. I had a little snack, but I felt like I was eating healthy. And I had the avocado and some of the salsa with the homemade tomatoes and so forth. And so it was enough to tie me over because I knew I needed to eat something. So, there's just all these new foods that we're trying. And I still haven't gotten to the Brussels sprouts yet, but we will at some point in time.
And it's for you try things out.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is it sounds like you're really listening to your body.
Right.
You eat large breakfast, which is great. Gets you started for the day. You enjoy a wonderful meal midway through the day. If it's at 12 or 3, that's totally fine, depending on your schedule. And then at night, if you're not as hungry for a big dinner, you're enjoying something that's healthy. It's delicious. You've got things in there, and you're not going to go to bed feeling like terrible and full.
No.
Working on something that's unhealthy.
So if we eat a big supper, like at 5 or 6, we don't do we don't eat anything more. We might have something to drink or water or something, but we don't snack. We used to have evening snacks. You'd sit at the TV and watch a movie or watch sports or whatever, and you'd have a snack. And we've stopped doing that because we feel full after supper, and we don't feel like we need to do that. So we haven't been. I can tell you the first couple weeks though that I started on this program, how can I say this? I almost had a stomach ache. I really did, because I didn't feel, because I was eating differently, and I felt like I was hungry. I felt like I could eat the house. But I think part of that had to be my diabetes, because that's one sign of diabetes, is wanting to eating a lot and drinking a lot. And so it probably was some of that as well. But after I was over that hump, everything was clear sailing. And everybody at work they're all asking me, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So I'm sharing things and sharing recipes and what I did and how I added this to that and to make them healthier. And people went out and bought bullets and all those things. So we're kind of doing that too. So
That's
but
great.
it's been wonderful. I feel good. I feel energetic. I feel like I can keep up with my little people, which was my main goal. That's my why, is my big why, is my 5 little ones. And I want to be able to do stuff with them and actively participate. So Nana's in there jump roping and swimming and doing all the stuff that the girly girls and whoever wants me to do. So
that's so awesome. So if you will give us the exact number of how much weight you've lost and how many sizes you've gone down, I would love.
Okay. Well, as of today, it's 49.5 pounds.
We'll round that to 50.
Okay. So, and I don't weigh myself all the time. I weigh myself once every couple of weeks, or if I notice my pants are falling off or something's new or different, then I will do it. Because otherwise, I think it makes you crazy, because you're trying to chase the almighty dial on
Yeah.
So that's that. And I had to buy clothes because, as you recall, I was pinning my pants together, and because we were going away on a trip, I think I would have set the alarms off with the metal in my pants to try to hold my pants up. So I went and bought new clothes, and I was wearing a size XL or 2XL, and I bought 14 pants.
That's incredible. That is such a huge shift.
And that felt so good to be able to pick out clothes in a different side of the store. And I even posted, I had to get a belt, and I posted, this is the first time I've tucked in a shirt and wore a belt in like years. And then my husband took pictures of me, and
you look amazing.
So yeah, I have a little waist now, and you can see it, and I feel better. I feel better than I did. So
that's so great. Most importantly, you feel better. It's such I think people kind of get lost. They get focused on numbers, or they get obsessed about food. And this is such a huge part about homemade, is that mindset shift towards us. And you're doing a great job at it. I'm so proud of you.
I'm happy, and I'm pleased with everything, with the program and so forth, and the support that comes from you guys, but also from the people who post things. I think we kind of try to lift each other up, because there are times one person posted, I really went off the deep end today and I did blank. We all have those days, where for whatever reason we're just off our game. And so, you look at it for what it is. You have that snack or that thing, and then you get back on, you just keep going.
Totally. The support from member to member is one of the most beneficial parts of our program, just in terms of seeing people uplift one another and like check in on each other. It's incredible. I see members, posting on the members only groups, like saying like, "Hey, Linda, Barbara, like, how did that surgery go? How's your mom doing?
We haven't heard from you in a while."
Yeah, it's so beautiful and heartwarming to see. So thank you for engaging and for supporting other members on their journeys as well.